what's up guys, it's Food and That coming at you with a brand new video today. Today we are going to be making 3 different types of pasta. Fresh pasta, which we can dry as well later on. So it's gonna be like a tagliatelle, like fettuccine style pasta. So one type is just classic, with just egg and flour, salt, and then the second type will be with red bell pepper to give it like an orange, a red color, but you'll see it's more of an orange color. And then we've got fresh spinach here, so we are going to get like a green color with that. So basically it's quite a long project, so I'm going to show you how to process them, just removing the seeds and then like caramelizing it in the pan. And then with this we just blanch the spinach. We'll mix that with egg yolks and egg whites, eggs basically, and then we'll mix that in with the flour. But right now, we're just going to start with prepping the vegetables first. Okay, so we're just going to start with the red pepper. So I'm just going to take the top off here. Super simple, and then you can pull this out with your hands, whatever. It's all good. Make a cut down here. You can remove the bottom if you like as well. It's edible, but I don't know, some people like to remove it. Come inside and you just want to remove the white. This is like bitter and we don't really need it. It's not going to do anything for the colouring. And it's just going to introduce like excess fibre that we just don't really need in the pasta. And it's going to bring a higher water content, and you'll see like problems later when you make pasta. The water content can really affect the pasta, make it more difficult to dry. So just take the seeds off. You can see here, like, this is a little bit old, this pepper, but it's still okay to use. It's just kind of got a few wrinkles, but we're just going to be frying it anyway, so it's not a huge deal. So we're just going to cut it into like maybe half, so it's just easier in the pan to make contact. So we're going to do that with the other peppers, and then I'll show you what we do with them in the pan. Alright guys, so I got the frying pan on the go, like a low heat. Got some just plain vegetable oil. And basically, we're just going to fry the peppers. So you can put it this way down, and we're just basically trying to get some more colour on them, but also like make them more malleable for when we like process them in the blender. You don't want them to be too present in the actual dough. You just kind of want the colouring and the flavouring. We don't want like the texture. Right. All in contact with the oil. What I'm going to do now, grab a lid and just put it over. So this is going to steam them. So they're going to get contact from, so you can even see the steam forming. So they're getting contact from the oil, so they're getting fried and they're getting steamed. So they're going to soften up really well and go sweeter as well in flavour. So this is 1 to develop the flavour and 2 to develop the colour. So we'll check back in like a minute or 2 and we'll flip them as well, so the skin has contact with the pan. So excuse the noise, excuse the volume, but I'm just going to speak a bit louder. So basically now we need to remove the lid and flip the peppers so they can have contact with, the skin can have contact with the pan and the oil. You can even see some of the colouring that they've taken on, really nice. So we'll fry them, we'll let them continue to steam, and we might even add a tiny bit of water as well, just to soften them up a bit more. But I don't expect to be cooking them for much longer than this. Okay guys, so they're looking good. I'm just going to add a tiny bit of water just to soften them up. So you can really see the steam exiting there. So I'm just going to let them steam for maybe another 2 minutes, and then I'll take them out and they're good to go. So let's just flip them over, see the colour. Okay, that's perfect. So you see they kind of, the colour's more intense, it's more of a deeper red. And we also have some blackening as well. So this is nice because there's a contrast in the final product, in the pasta. There's like the red and black as well. What we can do is turn the heat off and put that lid back on, and they can continue to steam. And what will happen is that the skin will almost peel back off the flesh, so we can remove some of the skin, because we don't want all of the black in the pasta, because it kind of looks like a little bit dirty at the end. But the colour contrast is nice. So the lid goes back on and we just let that rest for a little while, maybe, I don't know, 5 more minutes. We can start picking the spinach. So they come in like big stems, so we just want to remove the leaves. So this spinach might look a little bit different to the spinach that you buy, but more or less it's the same. The spinach is just a bit more hairy, it's like a bit more fibrous on the surface, but you know, you wilt it in hot water and it all turns out the same. So yeah, nothing really to see here, guys, just me picking leaves off the spinach. Obviously if the spinach has lots of bites in it, then avoid that, because it's going to it's not going to be nice, and it would have already been quite contaminated with insects. So I'll pick all the spinach and show you the amount we should have at the end. Okay guys, so this is our final amount of spinach. It looks like a lot now. This is like 2 heads of spinach, or 2, I don't know, bags, whatever. But obviously it's gonna wilt, so it's gonna get really, really small. And you'll see in the end, it will just be like 2 fistfuls of spinach. Okay guys, so we've got some boiling water. And basically we're just gonna go in with the spinach, all of it. Yes. Like this. And we're just going to kind of like turn it with a spatula. Spatula, where are you? And basically in the hot water, it's just going to wilt down. And yeah, it will only take maybe a minute or 2. And then we can drain it and then squeeze the excess water out, because the spinach will, like, obviously it's like 50% water or something, I don't know. So what you'll see is the colour go from like this to like this, like a lot darker. And then that colour translates really well in the pasta, in the final product. Okay guys, so I just have a sieve, and I'm just gonna like scoop the spinach out like with my spatula. I like press it down, press it. Squeeze it. And I'm just gonna let it continue to drain. Yeah. So I'm gonna put it over the dryer and let it drain, and let the steam come off as well. And then we'll squeeze it by hand, because it's a bit too hot right now. I'll burn myself if I squeeze it. Okay, so the spinach is cooled down enough. You can also run cold water over it, which, like, why didn't I think of that to start with? But you just want to take it in a bowl, and like you see the amount here, look how much water leaves now. So all of that spinach that we had compressed now into like one, big handful. So this is enough spinach for like 10 eggs. So we'll mix this, and we'll have like a green egg mixture, and then that will mix with the flour. Okay, here we got the flour, about 5 kilos. We have 30 eggs, like kind of medium to large eggs. Got a scale, weighing scale, and then we've got the spinach and the peppers. So we're gonna do like 10 eggs for like 1,000 grams of pasta, 1,000 grams of flour, and I'm gonna add a little bit more because it's gonna be wet. There's gonna have a higher water content in the spinach and the peppers. So we need to add more flour to adjust for that. So first, I'll weigh the flour, and then I'll make the egg mixture in the blender. Alright, so I'm just going to weigh the flour out onto this plate and scale. I'll probably use like 1,200, I think, because we're going to do the spinach pasta first. So we just have to add more flour to adjust for the water content. So that should be 1,200. So in the blender now, we're just going to add 10 eggs and then the spinach. So super simple. So I'm going to do that and repeat it 11 times. Exciting. Right, so in the blender there's about 5 eggs and then 1/2 of the spinach. So if I put all the eggs in together and the spinach, it just is going to overflow. So we have to do it in halves. And it's not plugged in.
A few moments later.
Okay, now it's plugged in, let's give it a whiz. That's our finished spinach and eggs mixture. So we're just going to add that to the flour now. Right, so the camera just crashed. I don't know how much of that I recorded, but I made a well in the flour, and then I added the mixture of spinach and egg, and salt as well. I added maybe 2 tablespoons of salt. Right, so we're just going to incorporate the flour and let it hydrate a little bit. So here you see it's like breaking, which is fine. Just want it all to oopa. So I've got to clean up some egg later, that's for sure. So we're just going to go in, mix with our hands. And this is super messy, guys, so if you're not comfortable with that, then I don't know what to tell you, it's not for you. So it's starting to kind of take body right now. So yeah, you just want to kind of do this. I'm making a lot of pasta. This will be like, well, maybe 6 or 7 portions at the end. But obviously, like, if you want to make less, then you just, like, a good rule of thumb is 1 egg for every 100 grams of flour. So, you know, you can do the math there. Right, so it's at this point where, like, there's obviously a lot more flour, so I'm going to add the second half of the spinach and eggs mixture. So we got our second half, and here's our little well. I'm just going to incorporate it super slowly. I'm not going to do it all at once like I did last time. I don't want to make a mess. So yeah, here we go. I'm also going to add like maybe a tablespoon of olive oil as well, just to like give the dough some like softness, make it more malleable. And it really helps when you're putting it through the pasta machine, like it helps it not get stuck, you know, it's like a lubricant. So I'm just going to do this and I'll show you the finished product basically, or the ball at the end that we need. I wanted to update you, so you can kind of see like the texture, the consistency of the flour. It's still a bit wet, so I've just added a tiny bit more flour on top, because we just want to get that consistency right. And I want to show you like how to almost like knead the dough as well. So you kind of just want to like do this and then a bit of like flip it, push it, flip it, push it, stretch the gluten, you know? So do this for like until it's ready. Obviously the first time you do it, you're not gonna know like what to expect or what it's supposed to look like, but for me, like, it's almost there. Probably another minute or so. Obviously, look at that. Gotta give it a slap. Like a hippo. So this, basically now, we're just going to let rest because we stretch the gluten a lot. So I'm actually gonna portion it into maybe like, I don't know, like 10 smaller balls, and then we're gonna put those balls through the pasta machine. I like to portion it now because it gives the smaller balls more time to dry out, because sometimes when you put this through it sticks. But like I said before, we added olive oil, so that should help prevent that, but you never know. You always have to use flour like in the machine to keep it lubricated, and you'll see that later. So literally just gonna go in with a knife. Wow man, that's a fucking nice cross section. Imagine that loaf is ready to eat, that looks great. And then this smaller portion, I'm just gonna ball up in my hands and then plop down there. So I'm gonna do that with this, and then I should have like 10 or 12 like portions. Okay guys, I've got like the small balls of the spinach and egg flour pasta. So one thing I should mention is that like you really do need a lot of space if you're going to be making pasta, because you need somewhere to knead it, somewhere to rest it, like a table long enough for the machine, because you're making like long sheets of dough, somewhere for it to hang and to dry as well. If you're having dry pasta, or if you're eating fresh pasta, perfect, you don't need to let it dry. So I'm gonna do all of these steps but with the red pasta. One thing I will do is take off the skins of the peppers. So because they've like steamed and they've had like time, the skin, like the fibrous skin, is separated from the flesh. We just want the flesh. If you have a little bit of skin, not a big deal, it's fine in the end. Okay, so the next part will be kind of short, and it'll just be a summary of the the red pasta. Wow, look at that colour, so nice. So this is like red pasta, but it's more of an orange. I always found that like with like the tri-colour pasta, like it's always orange, huh? It's never like a fully red colour. But like we're using natural food colourings, we're not using food dyes, so that's the kind of colour we have to work with. So I just add in the second half of our egg mixture. Just going in little by little, try not to spill anything. So we've got our ball. We're just going to portion it into 10 pieces and then put it aside. So we've got all the little balls ready. These guys at the back are just normal pasta, like just egg and flour, no extra thing added, so they look a bit drier. Because they have a reduced water content compared to like something like this or the spinach one. So we're gonna like flatten these out and put them through the machine, crank it out, and then hang them to dry, and then we'll come back and cut the pasta with the same machine. Quick rundown of the machine. So here you got the crank that pasta. Here's the grip, so you can do it solo, so it doesn't like wiggle around. Here you've got the two different things that keep the thickness, and here you've got like the thickness, so 1, and it goes all the way through to 9. So you start on 1 and then you bring it to 2 and then 3, 4, 5. We're gonna keep the 5 for like a tagliatelle. Here I've got some other flour just to like lubricate this. So you kind of just do this, just so the pasta doesn't stick. Do a bit more flour in here. Stick this in and then crank it. Push it at the bottom. Push it through, and we'll do the same again with 3, and we'll go from 3 to 5. Coming out so nice as well. Sometimes it sticks, like if it's got a higher water content, like it gets really sticky. But like I said earlier, like when you use the olive oil, I think like it really adds like a lubricant in there. It's great. So I've gone from 3 to 5. I've just skipped 4. The machine's eating really well. Okay, so here's our pasta sheet. Here's our pasta sheet of 5, and that's the thickness that we want. So I'm gonna let this like put a bit of flour on it, and I'm going to put it on like a pole or like a stick or something just to air out. I'm using a bamboo pole, so we're gonna kind of just place it over the pole like this. And it will dry out a tiny bit, because when we want to cut it in the same machine, we want it to be a little bit drier so it separates easier. So I'm going to do this with a red one just to show you, and a white one, and I'll show you when they're all hanging up at the end. Our bell pepper pasta. So So I'm just gonna like sprinkle a tiny bit of flour on it. And this one I really like because you can see like the little flecks of like black and red on the skin that we kind of roasted or caramelized. It's super nice color, and it's like a lot more profound as well, the orange. It's not as obvious when it's in the ball. So guys, now we're going to cut the pasta. I've got basically the pasta sheet. This is the spinach one that we did earlier. It's a little bit drier now, so it's easier to cut. So I've added this little attachment thing, and it has two modes to it. One's like tagliatelle and one's like angel hair pasta. Let me kind of show you. So this one is like more tagliatelle style, and then this one's like angel hair pasta. Right, there we have it. Basically, here's our pasta. Different lengths, different shapes, but all in all, like we just need to separate it. It's pretty dry already, so I'll probably I won't dry it out too much. But you can leave it like to hang. You can leave it in front of the fan to dry out. This is like pretty dry as it is, so I'll just separate it and make it look nice, and I'll show you the presentation. I've got all my pasta basically just hanging from like clotheslines, and like just needs to be in like a well ventilated area with a lot of like airflow, but not too much because you don't want it to dry out too much. This is like the pasta forest. So I'm gonna let this dry. You can eat it now, you can boil it and it'll be like fresh pasta. It'll cook in like 3 minutes. But I'm gonna let it dry and then package it just for like presentation's sake. So it depends on how long you leave it for, depends on how like wet the dough is. You don't want to leave it too long because it becomes too brittle and then you can't like cook it, and it just snaps apart, so it doesn't keep its long shape. Alright guys, so it's kind of like the end of the day now, so the pasta's all ready. This is like a three color, like 3 colors. You've got the bell pepper orange, you've got the regular just egg, and then you've got the spinach. So this pasta is pretty, it's not completely dry, you can like let it hang for longer, and it will dry, like get way more stiffer, it takes longer to cook, but it stores better when there's no moisture. So yeah, this is it. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a go making it at home. I'm just gonna like throw this in a pot and have it with some like fish and vegetables and some pesto. There should be a pesto recipe like here. This isn't like a specific recipe, but I'm just going to show you what I'm eating for dinner tonight. And yeah, thanks, and give it a go, let me know what you think. Okay, so this is like just like fish and peppers and zucchini, and some pesto, but I'm not really commenting on like the flavour of the pesto or whatever, but I'm just trying it just to get a feel for how the pasta actually turned out. There's such like a sense of fulfillment when you make your own pasta, like so much better than store-bought. Nicer, it's a real like pleaser as well, like it's really like, I don't know, if you had a date or something, you can really impress them, like if you tell them, yeah, I made a pasta like myself, or followed a recipe from Food and Night, it was really good. The pasta is springy as well. It's nice, it has bite to it, it's al dente, that's how I cooked it, but definitely has a spring. I'm really happy with how the colour kept as well. Like you can still make out the orange pieces, the white pieces, the green pieces, even with like this sauce that I'm eating with it. So the colour really keeps. The flavour, okay, maybe I should have eaten it before I added the pesto, but from the spinach pasta, it's more of a minerally flavour that like spinach has. And from the chili, from the red pepper, so the flavour of the red pepper is there, definitely present, but very subtle. And slightly sweeter as well because of the sugars that we created when we fried the pepper. But all in all, guys, I think give the pasta a go. It's quite labour intensive, but like well worth it and well really rewarding. Especially if you're making it in batch, like you can give it away to friends. Like I don't know, it's up to you. But yeah, thanks for watching and see you in the next one. Bye bye.